rocking games all night.
Now I know what you're thinking. This is one of those games, isn't it? Well, it has adult themes, but nothing is explicitly shown. Now don't you worry, we'll get into those games another day. There are some really broken ones out there. This is HunieCam Studio. It's a side game in the HuniePop franchise. I've never actually played HuniePop, but from what I've heard, I think it's like Bejeweled, but with tits or something. This one's more like Cookie Clicker with tits. Anyway, let's start a new game.
Oh, hey, look who decided to show up. I guess the legends are true, you do exist. Alright, look, if you want this gig, you gotta listen to directions. We both know I'm doing you a solid by letting you manage my girls. I mean, let's keep it 100 here. This is the closest you're getting to female interaction right now.
It's a pleasure to meet you too.
Let's not waste any more time. I'll start you out with one of our fresh prospects. Which one of these girls catches your eye?
Let's check them out. Tiffany is a college student who's looking for a way to start paying off her student loans, but can't seem to find a decent part-time gig. I think I'll go with Tiffany here and help her pay off those student loans.
Good call.
Alright, I'm getting tired of you, so I'll explain the mechanics. Pretty much, drag a girl to a building to make her do something. Each building takes a certain amount of time and gives a different type of resource. These resources are generated in the building, and we need to click it to get those resources out. There's also a special technique called finger blasting. Basically, if we click on a building with any girls inside of it, it speeds up the activity, but the building needs to be emptied of any resources first. As for the resources, the Cam Studio gives money, and the amount of money it gives is based on the girls' fan count as well as their style and talent level. Style and talent can be earned from the boutique and the strip club respectively, and fans are earned from the photo shoot. Now, the goal of the game is technically to get as many fans as possible within 21 days, but we don't just want to keep everyone on the photo shoot the whole time. Money is still an absolute necessity, as the more a girl works, the more we have to pay them at the end of the night. Each girl has a specific pay rate depending on her style and talent levels. Tiffany here makes a whopping $1 an hour. Besides that, in order to get the best score possible, we need money to pay for these upgrades so that we can scale up and make even more fans. But the more we drag these girls onto buildings, the more their stress builds up. When it gets too high, we have to take them to the spa to get it back down to 0. Some girls, such as Nadia, who we just recruited here, smoke and drink. They'll accumulate stress slower, but only if we have smokes and drinks to spare, which we can get from the corner store and liquor store. Finally, there's the adult shop where we can get all kinds of messed up shit, like this Coke, which has the time it takes to do tasks. I'm gonna give this to Tiffany. Welcome to your new addiction, Tiff.
Great!
For now, we'll just keep making some money, buying those upgrades, and recruiting more girls such as Sarah.
Meow!
Can I take it back? Well, whatever. She's got a lot of style, but not a lot of talent. So get stripping, Sarah.
Okay, and we're in debt. You're killing me right now. Didn't I tell you to keep an eye on the payroll?
Oh, what a tragedy. We're 38 bucks in debt.
We need to make some serious cash soon, or we're gonna be out of business. If you stay in the red for over 24 hours, I'm gonna have to let you go.
Look, you're making a really big deal over something not that serious. Why would I worry about how I'm gonna pay my girls when I can just hire someone to do it for me? That's your problem now, Lailani.
All right. Finished.
And it would seem Lailani is not very good at her job. So instead, let's try leveling her and Sarah so they can make more cash while Nadia stays in the Cam Studio to keep a constant flow of income. I'll give Tiff the shopping basket and have her do the errands. But despite my best efforts, the payroll is still fucking me over and it's becoming difficult to afford some upgrades. Now, I gotta say, for an idle clicking game with tits, there are a lot of moving parts here, and it's honestly not easy balancing things like raising fan count and character levels while still maintaining enough income for upgrades and payroll. However, the piggy bank might be my saving grace, since it cuts the pay of the girl holding it in half, for some reason. I'll give that to Sarah, since I only just noticed that she's the problem. And we'll recruit Lola, partly because I like her style, but mostly because I don't have to pay her as much.
Wonderful. Hey, so I've been looking into ways to expand the business and I made some arrangements.
Oh boy, what is it this time?
Some of our more wealthy customers have requested private one-on-one meetings with the girls. So, being committed to excellent customer service like we are, we now offer private escorting services. Escorting will earn exactly as much cash as a cam show, but it only takes an hour. The downside is, well, it can be kinda risky. You never know what some of these nasty dudes are walking around with. What's life without a little risk, though? Am I right? Of course I'm right.
Yeah, you're right. What's the worst that could happen?
Smart. Whoops. Looks like one of our girls contracted a horrific STD.
You fucking bitch! Lola is too embarrassed to do any photo shoots. Lola, honey, you have fucking syphilis. I think you have more pressing concerns here. Well, I would say hopefully we offer health insurance, but I don't think we have the money for that. What we do have is a Tiffany. Relax faster, Tiff. I need you to grab some medicine. All's well that ends well. Apparently it only takes 3 days to cure syphilis. Who knew? If only I was patient enough to get her a condom first. Sorry, Lola. Please don't sue me. I can't afford it. And holy shit, can I not afford it? In fact, it's getting close to the end of the day and I'm still over $1,000 in debt. Well, looks like we have no choice now.
Ooh, yeah. Looks like you done gone and goofed it up.
No, I sure did goof it up.
So, that's a wrap. You're fired. I don't know what to tell you. You can't say I didn't warn you. Honestly, I'm not exactly sure how you pulled it off. We made this shit pretty hard to actually lose.
Oh ho 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 ho, bitch, you wanna throw some fucking hands with me? That's it, gloves off, time to optimize this shitty excuse for a game. And time for you to get to work, Tiff.
This'll be fun.
For the second girl, we already had Nadia, and I wanna try someone new this time. Kiana and Nikki both have the same exact stats, so it really just comes down to whether you're an ass man or a tits guy. Kiana's got a thick ass, but Nikki's got some huge tits. And I mean bangin' badonkadonks. I'll go with Nikki, cause she's a gamer. And like, she does have massive milkers. So I think I know where I goofed last time.
Sure.
There are items you can get from the adult store that have the time it takes to go shopping or stripping. I thought I was being more efficient by utilizing these items to max a girl's level as fast as possible. What I didn't realize is that every time a girl's talent or style is leveled up, their pay doubles. Tiffany makes $1 an hour because her talent and style are both level 1. When a girl gets to the max level of 5 in both, her pay becomes $256 an hour. So in the early game, we actually don't want these numbers to get too high. Instead, we want to focus more on increasing fan count and then leveling up later once we have enough fans to compensate for the payroll. And other than that, we also want to try to fill these slots with girls as fast as possible. For the third girl, I'll go with Zoe, cause she's pretty cute. Hey, just cause I like tits doesn't mean I only like big ones. Big or small, tits are tits. And my waifu Zoe is more than just a pair of tits, okay? She's a beautiful lady who's totally real, she just goes to a different school in Canada. Now, we want to make as much money as possible to buy these upgrades and scale up, but the upgrades get more and more expensive, so we have to balance out where to spend our time and money in order to scale up enough to get the next upgrade. Some of these upgrades are more important than you'd think, such as inventory. Each level of inventory increases the number of items a girl can carry, capping at 3. And these items are very important. So, time for me to explain in way too much detail the best in slot gear setup for a shitty erotic cookie clicker game. Some of the items, such as the wine box and nicotine patch, aren't that great. Sure, they reduce the need for drinks and cigs, but a Tiffany with a shopping basket and maybe some Coke can handle that just fine. I don't doubt these items might find some situational use in, say, a fully zero drinking or zero smoking comp, but with the current meta, they're altogether pretty much D tier. The stripper heels and fashion magazine are decent temporary items to level up a girl, but they become useless once she's maxed that level. Good picks if you don't have better options, but still somewhere around C or B tier. A large portion of the items are fetish items. Each item increases the fans that girl earns from a photo shoot by 25% and has them support the fetish associated with the item, which means that the fans you have of that fetish will count towards that girl's individual fan count. There's no real difference between the fetishes other than the game counting them as separate categories, so all these items can be lumped together in the A tier. The S tier items are the piggy bank, which I already talked about, and the subscribe pillow. The subscribe pillow makes it so that when a girl does a cam show, they gain half the fans they normally would from a regular photo photo shoot. Photo shoots are still technically the best way to make fans as fast as possible, but the pillow allows us to make fans and cash at the same time, which is the most efficient way to scale the gains of both. So, the most efficient gear setup is a piggy bank, a subscribe pillow, and a fetish item, and it's still good to grab extras of these to utilize consumables since deleting items is the only way to swap a build. As for what fetish item to pick, it really doesn't matter since the main thing we're going for is the 25% buff to fan gains, which still affects gains from the pillow, but optimally you want to try and vary fetish items between girls to cover a wider basis. My goal is to get 7 girls with that gear set up until I can afford all the upgrades, while Tiff sticks with the shopping basket as well as any coke and weed I can spare. If I get to a point where money's no longer an issue, I can swap the build to 3 fetish items and spam the photo shoot until...
Now that we're starting to gain popularity, we should look into advertising our shit on other websites.
Advertising? You didn't mention that last time.
This is a list of all the sites currently offering ad space. It refreshes every day at midnight. Each site caters to a specific fetish, so all the new fans gained from an ad buy will have that fetish. Transactions will complete instantly too, so we don't have to wait around for fans to trickle in. It's that simple.
I don't think advertising is that simple, but whatever you say. Looks like they add to our total fan count even if we don't cover the fetish, so it doesn't hurt to grab them. And we'll recruit Kiana, because of her personality, and also because of her giant ass. I'm grabbing Audrey as well, because she looks cool.
You better pay up.
Nice to meet you too, Audrey. While we try to pay off this debt, I'll have her max her style. Yeah, I know, I'm doing the same shit that made me lose last time, but there's logic behind it now. The payroll only starts to really hurt once you get close to capping both style and talent. We still have the ability to max one or the other before it gets too bad, and there's a reason we want style first. Style increases the fans gained from the photo shoot, and thus also increases the fans gained through the pillow. So, by maxing out style now, we can increase fan gains, thus increasing cash gains, which gives us more cash to spend on upgrades, as well as ads that give us fans, which gives us more cash to spend on... Okay, you get the point. And more cash is a necessity, because the more we buy ads, the more they scale the day after. Over time, they get more and more expensive, but they also give more and more fans. But holy shit, do they get really fucking expensive in the late game. I've been spamming the cam studio all the way to day 20, and not once have I been in a position where I could comfortably buy all the ads with cash to spare. Once you get this far into the game, the fastest way to make money is through the sleazy motel, which is clearly a hotel, not a motel, but the game calls it a motel, so whatever. But the risk of STDs makes it not really worth it unless you're desperate. In this town that kinda looks like that mat you had as a kid, STDs are fucking rampant. It feels like it's almost a 50-50 chance whenever you do an unprotected escort. Realistically, it's probably more like a 25 to 30% chance to get an STD, but even if it was a 10% chance, which I can confidently say it's higher than that from what testing I did, that's still an insane STD rate. And it's no wonder STDs are so common in this town. Condoms are basically a rare drop here. It takes 8 hours to browse the adult shop in the late game, 4 with cocaine, and with each girl you have doing it, you get to pick 1 item out of 6 randomly selected options. There are 18 items in total, so spending 8 hours browsing in the shop gives you about a 1 in 3 chance of finding 1 condom. So, since we only have 2 days left and not nearly enough money to buy all these ads, I think it's about time I pulled out my secret technique. It's an old trick I like to call time travel. Basically, we save the game, drag Aiko to the motel, and she gets gonorrhea. No worries though, all we do now is quit the game without saving, reload the save, and Aiko still has gonorrhea. Well, fuck, they managed to beat my secret technique. The game autosaves when you hit the quit button. So then what the fuck is the point of a save button? Whatever, she can't gain any talent or style, but she's already maxed, so it's not really a big deal. Not to me, anyway. Sorry, Aiko, why don't you hit the spot and I'll have Tiff grab you some medicine. Well, actually, it takes 3 days to cure and tomorrow's our last day, so I guess there's not much of a point. Why don't you go grab some cigs instead, Tiff?
All done. Can I be done now?
Tiffany caught AIDS? How? I sent you fucking shopping, Tiff! Whatever, can you just grab those cigarettes now? Can't shop with AIDS? Fucking why? Tiffany is way too depressed to do anything. She has AIDS. Well, sorry, Tiff. Shit fucking happens. That's just life. If you're not gonna work, you're not getting paid. Say goodbye to your $1 an hour, Tiff. How are you gonna pay off those student loans now, huh? With Tiff being a depressed piece of shit, I think it's time we got a replacement. Say hello to Lillian. You're the new Tiffany now.
Ugh, fuck my life.
Just don't go falling pussy first like Tiff.
Please kill me.
We still have a lot of promos we can't afford actually, so never mind. Pussy's out, ladies. The clock's ticking.
All right, that's it. Time's up. 21 days. Time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it? Let's see how you did.
Okay, so this next part is one of the only things in this game that I'm not comfortable showing, so I'll tastefully censor it with a visual representation of what's going on.
Oh, damn, son! You did it! I never thought I'd see the day. That's the best trophy I have to give you.
Oh shit, really?
You truly are the master of putting girls on buildings. A skill that has no value in the real world.
Yeah, well, putting girls on buildings is just a side hustle for me. My real area of expertise is breaking shitty-ass trash games like this one. I've played by your rules and I beat your game. Now it's time for me to break those rules and, most importantly, break this game. But first, you know I gotta use these coins I just got to get some outfits for my best girls. What's this one? Whoa! That's about as close to nudity as you can get without it technically being nudity. Not that I'm complaining, Zoe, of course not, but there could be babies watching, so let's go with something sexy but still mostly tasteful. There we go. See, this is a Christian channel. Okay, fine, enough fawning over virtual women, let's break the game now. Rock hard mode? This game knows how I like to play. Grab Tiffany and fuck you. So, as previously established, the motel is the fastest way to make money by far, but other mechanics make it effectively impossible to use it as the main source of income. But if we can find a way to circumvent those mechanics, we can play the game in a way that was never intended. There's no way within the game to quit without saving, but all we need is a bit of out-of-the-box thinking. And I mean that literally, you just close out the game window. It works, but it's incredibly tedious. If only there was a way we could infinitely generate condoms. So I found a way to infinitely generate condoms. If you give your items to a girl, save and exit, then reload the game, the item will be back in storage as well as still having a copy in the inventory of the girl you gave it to. I stumbled on this when I was messing with the save scum strat, so for a while I thought this was triggered from the way I was closing out the game. But eventually I figured out that this works just from quitting and reloading the game normally. This was such an easy bug to find, I genuinely don't understand how they didn't notice it before releasing the game. It's almost like they didn't give a shit. It's a little tricky to exploit to its maximum potential though. It has something to do with the game storing some kind of memory on what slots have what items, and when items are used, everything ahead of it gets pushed back, and that overwrites the item that was previously there. You can dupe any item this way, but you have to be careful to use or discard items in the right order so as to not mess it up. Even if you do though, it's easy enough to save scum the adult shop to get the exact item you need at the exact right time, and once you have a full inventory, you can utilize the overwriting factor to get a bunch of whatever you need, whenever you need. And what a surprise, being able to equip anyone with any item drastically changes the game balance. The subscribe pillow and piggy bank are both basically useless now that we don't need to do cam shows and money is super easy to come by. I started off trying a full build of one fetish item, a condom, and coke. Now from a theoretical standpoint, coke is obviously the best item in the game period. Having the time it takes to do tasks effectively makes that girl able to do double the amount of shit they should normally be able to do. But there are some factors that complicate things. The sleazy motel takes so little time that when you have a bunch of girls on it at once, it actually becomes really difficult to min-max the uptime perfectly. The tiniest delays, like the fraction of a second it takes to move your mouse from the motel to the next girl, all add up, and since coke making tasks faster also means girls will be finishing tasks more often, it honestly seems to just add enough downtime to negate its own benefit. I'm sure this is just a skill issue though, and with enough practice, the coke might actually be optimal here. But you'd have to be a complete lunatic to take a game like this as seriously as I do.
Yeah.
So I eventually swapped builds to go with 2 fetish items for everyone whose name isn't Tiffany, and switched between a condom for the 3rd item on the girls with escort duty and coke for the ones doing photo shoots. Now with this build, there's one more important factor to consider. Each girl has 2 fetish items, and they all have to be the same ones. I'm gonna try to explain this the best I can, but it might not make sense to someone without over 50 hours in this game like me, so... Your total number of fans is subdivided by fetish, with each fan having 1 fetish. Each girl supports 2 fetishes by default, along with any they support through items. The ones they have by default are fixed and are fetishes that can't be gained by girls who don't start with them. So we can't give Zoe breast implants to have her support the huge tits fetish, but we don't need to because she's perfect the way she is, okay? When a girl gets fans to the photo shoot, she doesn't necessarily just add fans for herself. She generates fans into the total based on her supported fetishes. When multiple girls have overlapping fetishes, they don't split the number of fans for that fetish between them. They all get the full amount. So if we have all the girls with the same fetish items and always have some of them doing photo shoots while a couple do escorts, the girls doing photo shoots will generate fans for the ones escorting and keep increasing the money gained. And as for the Tiffany side of things, well, Rock Hard Mode increases drink and cig consumption significantly, so we need to throw a shopping basket and some coke on her to keep her doing errands indefinitely. And a ball gag to remind her that she's the company bitch. With the item dupe, we can keep cocaine on her 24/7 now. I'm basically feeding her cocaine at this point. And once we get this strategy rolling, we're able to buy all the ads every single day with no trouble and scale faster than the game ever intended to be possible. So while I finish this up and see how many fans I can get by day 21, I think it's time to take a quick break and hear from today's sponsor. Are you a single, lonely man in desperate need of female attention? Would you spend literally hundreds of thousands of dollars just for one lousy hour with this bitch?
You got a problem?
Well then... Oh. It would seem I mistakenly bought advertising space on my own video. What fetish would this even count as? Please tell me it's not cake farting. I knew I shouldn't have bought that ad.
Alright, that's it. Time's up. Let's see how you did.
And with a lifetime revenue of $102 million, 491,000 fans, and 919 private escorts with no STDs contracted, I'd say this game has been thoroughly broken. Now, I know I could do a lot better than that, especially if I don't play on Rock Hard Mode, but that took an insane amount of time and I don't plan on doing it again. Exploiting that bug the way I did adds a ton of time to the overall playthrough since you have to keep exiting and reloading the game every 30 seconds, and I'd rather spend an unreasonable amount of time doing something different, but equally pointless. And that is finding out just how high this number can go. I have a feeling the money count caps out around 2 billion, and if it doesn't cap there, then that means it caps at a number that's way too high to be worth reaching. So I'll just keep throwing everyone on the motel until we get there. After a couple hours of this shit, we finally have over $1 billion in the bank and another $1 billion waiting to be collected. Now, all we have to do is wait. Yeah, this is taking fucking forever. I set up an auto clicker to pull out the money as fast as possible, but the game caps at a certain number of clicks per second to nerf people like me. They had the foresight to do that, but they didn't notice the most obvious item dupe in the world. And I can assure you my auto clicker is working just fine. To demonstrate how fast it really is... So yeah, I did the math on how long this will take, and it's gonna be a long time. But with a little movie magic... it's done in an instant. Well, technically it's not done yet, but I see that number stuck at 2 billion without going up. And if we take a look at the lifetime revenue, I literally made more money than the game is able to count. So what am I gonna do with my billions? Well, I thought I might do something nice for someone. A certain someone who's been there with me the whole time and never complained despite all the shit I put her through. That's right, I'm giving Tiffany a generous raise. I've tripled her pay to $3 an hour. Keep working hard, Tiff. Maybe one day you'll be able to make a dent in those student loans.